Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
It's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here to the National Racing Network and our live coverage of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship coming up from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. My name is Chris Graham, joined by an in-race reporter tonight, Mr. James Watson. James, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. A little nervous, but happy to be back on the track again. I'm hoping this goes a heck of a lot better than the last time I was in race reporter for this series at an oval.
Yeah, that one didn't go so hot. This one, I think, is going to be a little bit different because we're looking at only a 13-car field. Now, it's a 26-car entry list, but a 13-car field for tonight's race. That really kind of changes things up in terms of how you have to play things as we pick you up working your way down the backstretch here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people to work with, not a lot of wiggle room, especially when you're putting up our iRating. So yeah, you're gonna, for those of us up in the higher ratings, have to hope you can finish close to your number, otherwise you're gonna be making a hefty donation here.
Yes, that's putting it mildly, quite frankly. Let's pick up. We'll go for the side-by-side here. We'll have you on the left-hand side of the screen. Everett Paddock on the right-hand side. Paddock was your quick timer at a 27.309. New quick time, top of the board. David Porcelli, 27.218. Even faster, Everett Paddock, 27.124. Andrew Berry very quickly up to second quick on the board at a 27.173. Oh my goodness, these laps are coming in ridiculously quick right now. We'll pick up Andrew Berry as he's going to make his way around the racetrack. Berry finishing up his qualification run, and it's only going to be good for... let's see. Oh, we just lost James Watson here. Hold on. There we go. Flip the cameras around. Now you'll have James Watson on the right. Well, no, you won't because he's done his lap too. So we'll have Frank win. Everett Paddock, still your quick timer to 27.124. That's a monster lap. Andrew Berry to 27.167. 27.218 for David Porcelli in third. Ted Burns, Nagisio Shikawa completing the top five. Our old friend Kylo Ciacelli moving out onto the racetrack right now. Let's pick him up, and we'll give you a look side by side. Looking over the right-hand shoulder of Kylo as he heads down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Seeing James, he is way up against the outside retaining wall for lap number 1. That's as much about building up a little bit of heat in the tires before trying to set a quick lap, I would imagine.
Yep, that's precisely what I did. I stayed up to the wall in both laps. It worked a few times during the week. Yeah, it didn't quite work this time. One thing I'm noticing is this track is heavily used. The actual track condition itself, it's pretty worn, so we're going to see a lot of tight, odd handling race cars. So we're going to have an interesting one. I have no idea how this is going to go. Not like anything I've dealt with this week.
Yeah, now the top 6, 7, 8, 9 names we recognize. Then we have a couple at the bottom. Dylan Vilashinsky and Brian Karshemsky. Those are two names that we're not familiar with. Also, Sam Hensley and Jeff Peet. At least we're not necessarily familiar with them, as time has expired on qualifications. That makes things a little bit interesting here as you get ready to go, James, because you have a couple of guys you might not be totally familiar with, and especially in a light split like this. I mean, 26 cars is a great entry list. I don't know why the split is there, but 13 cars it's probably not the ratio we're expecting to run here.
No, I wonder if that's just I think it's a series thing. I don't think the PM18 series allows you to run a bigger split, or a bigger split than 26. Why we split, because Lord knows there's plenty of NASCAR and short track splits that have a lot more than 26.
Yeah, I would imagine some of that's probably for some of the short tracks that we run. It's just a little bit more contained, but man alive, one of those things, like, it shouldn't be that hard to program a split size variable into the coding, but what do I know? Let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's race. Everett Paddock will be your pole sitter at a lap time of 27.124. Andrew Berry, 43 thousandths of a second back. David Porcelli still less than a tenth off. He's going to line up inside of row number 2. And to his outside, Ted Burns. Nagisio Shikawa and Mike Holler on row number 3. Kylo Ciacelli and our in-race reporter James Watson on row number 4. Frank
Hello.
Wynn, Frank Wynn and Dylan Vilashinsky on row number 5. Brian Karshemsky and Jeff Peet on row 6. All alone on row number 7 will be Sam Hensley. The final 2 cars electing not to take time here in qualifications. Everybody is out on the grid. We are getting ready to roll. 60 laps the distance here tonight, James.
Any thought to the conservation of tires or maybe even a tire stop if we get like a mid-race caution?
It's weird. Tire wear is significant, but you don't actually feel it. Like, for the most part, you're still running within a few tenths off of what you've been doing all race long, but you come off the track and you're like, oh wow, I'm down to 60% on the right front. So it's one of those, if you're towards the back, might as well. If you're up at the front, no, just stay put and stay the course.
Taking a look on board here with Kylo Ciacelli doing the big tire warm-up here down the back straightaway.
He doesn't wreck when he does that.
Only you do, buddy. Good luck tonight,
Yep.
James. We're going to hear him screaming in our ears throughout this thing. We're looking forward
Even worse.
to it. Yeah, really. Pace car will make the hard left-hand turn. The field will come off at turn number 4. And as always, race fans, the start of this one going to be all yours. Lap number 1 is in the books. It belongs to Everett Paddock. Side-by-side battle, Ted Burns, David Porcelli fighting into turn number 1. The comments already lighting up, and Carswell, you are my hero. Let's go. Hopefully no double bird. There is not the great Brian Barnhart in attendance here this evening. At least if Brian Barnhart's watching, I'll reserve my comment. I would like to be credentialed at an IndyCar race again. Everett Paddock holding on to the lead. This battle for third is absolutely fantastic. Kylo Ciacelli has a great view of it. Let's bring it up in the side-by-side here. This is the rest of the top 5 ahead of Kylo. You can see out the visor. Take a look a little bit further back here. James is going to be caught up in a battle here as well. Dylan Vilashinsky coming around James. He lost a couple of spots on the start of the race. Frank Wynn gaining one as well. Is that James Watson in a purple race car? It is.
No, it's black. It's the Pizza at the Pagodas car you made for.
Ah, yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. That's Dylan just ahead of you in the purple race car. I got you. Speaking of, we should record a podcast again.
Yeah, that would probably be for the best.
James records the podcast from the driver's seat of his sim rig every week anyway, so we could probably do one right here, but first off, we're going to keep our eye on this top 5 battle, especially 3, 4, and 5. David Porcelli, Ted Burns, Kylo Ciacelli. Kylo gaining a couple of quick spots at the start of the race. Andrew Berry making the big move on Everett Paddock as well. We're going back to full screen here because there's a big move up to the inside of the racetrack. Ted Burns wants a piece of David Porcelli. The fight for the third position is on, and the race leaders are not getting away here. Porcelli having to run a little bit higher lane. A little bit of a bobble through the center of the corner. That's something I noticed driving it earlier. Now, I was only running the New Hampshire baseline set, but there is definitely, it's not every lap, but, oh, big slide from Porcelli. What a save. Same deal. He wrecked, just didn't finish it. What a save from David Porcelli. Unfortunately,
man, that screwed me over so much. I came to a complete stop because I thought there was going to be a caution.
Better to slow down and not hit anything than run somebody over because you're pushing too hard. So now we're going to have to go split screen here for you again. Left-hand side of the screen will have the battle for the race lead because that is still a good one. Right-hand side will follow along with David Porcelli to track his progress back through the field. Still 50 and a half or so laps to go. Porcelli's going to need a caution if he wants a shot at winning this race. The problem is a lot of times when you're doing that, you end up pushing too hard and you become the caution.
Yeah. Yeah, and the track is very unpredictable right now. It's very tight corner entry, but really loose in the center and corner exit. So you're kind of unsure on what you're going to be dealing with here.
And I vaguely remember from the last time the TNT Shock Series was here, it almost was a matter of how much of your tire would even hit the seams in the asphalt. Could play tricks with how loose or tight the race car was going to be. Are you still feeling those same sorts of things behind the wheel?
Not really. It really hasn't been an issue. I've been able to even hook seams and be all right.
Going back to the battle at the front here is Kylo Ciacelli. He's down almost to the apron wanting to get around Everett Paddock for the second position. Has to tuck back in line. Everybody being well behaved to this point. Ted Burns, Nagishi Yoshikawa have a great view of the battle just ahead of them. No real incentive to make the big move here. Other than, I would guess, James, that it kind of looks like track position is going to be very important. The pass itself is not going to be easy to execute.
No, especially with the outside line being so dominant as it is. You've got to just get a great run off of the corner and then basically pull a slide job.
Oh, man, there we see it. Ciacelli way down to the inside. Big bobble there out of Everett Paddock. He did the same thing Porcelli did. Not nearly to the same extent, but Everett Paddock going to lose not one but 3 positions, falling back to 5th.
Yeah, some very unhappy Everett noises.
So now Kylo Ciacelli going to be able to try to go to work on Andrew Berry, but you almost wonder if Berry hasn't been saving just a little bit here. The 5 and 10 lap averages for Berry are almost identical. 10 lap average at a 27.315 to a 5 lap average at 27.336. Kylo Ciacelli a tick faster over the 10 lap average, a tick slower over now the 5 lap average and the 15 lap average.
Yeah, that's Andrew for you.
Go back to following along here with David Porcelli. He is actually catching up to Everett Paddock here as the leaders start to separate themselves out just a little bit. After that bobble, Paddock pretty significantly off the pace. A 10-lap average at a 27.5 and a 27.7, the 5-lap average for Paddock. Porcelli down at a 27.3, so definitely starting to gain a little bit there. Also gaining, how about it? Kylo Ciacelli inside of Andrew Berry for the lead into 1. That was a power move by Kylo Ciacelli. Going to put himself up to position number 1. But now he's going to have to contend with the same thing that Andrew did, which is you can't really get away because the draft is still huge at this place.
Yeah, and like car behaves way differently in the clean air. They're kind of more so than a lot of the other ovals we go to.
Kylo running a very aggressive line. Really swings the car in late on corner entry as Ted Burns making the move on Berry now for a second. Oh, there's a bobble out of Ciacelli. Ted Burns going to go 2 for 1. He's up to the race lead. Andrew Berry back to second. Here comes Yoshikawa. Oh, man, thought he was going to have a big run on Ciacelli. Discretion, the better part of valor there in backing off. We talked about the aggressive line that Kylo was running. Quite frankly, it came back to bite him as the car stepped loose on corner exit. Andrew Berry back to the inside of Ted Burns. He'll pick up the race lead. Andrew Berry going to go 4th to 1st in just a couple of laps, but maybe not because Ted Burns going to swap him right back down to the inside. Nice crossover move, forces Berry up the racetrack, drag race to the line, give it to Andrew Berry by about a third of a car length. Another good set of battles going on here towards the back of the pack. We'll bring up on the little window there on the right-hand side of your screen. That's going to be David Porcelli, Frank Wynn, and Mike Holler. Those guys running about a second and a half back of Nagisa Yoshikawa. Looks like Everett Paddock had an issue as well because Paddock now back to the 9th position, 3 seconds back of the battle that's just ahead of him on the racetrack. As Kylo Ciacelli moving back to the inside of Ted Burns. And Nagisa Yoshikawa had a little bit of a bobble off of turn number 2. He's going to fall a second and a half back of the race leaders. Now it's going to be a 3-car battle as we work lap number 25. Action all over the racetrack here tonight. Porcelli getting caught up to Yoshikawa. Same deal. These guys are going to need some caution flag help if they want a chance. And now we're in the window that if you get the caution flag, it might be worth it to dive down and take a fresh set of Cooper tires. Oh, what happened back there, James? I see you are running shotgun on the field here. Kind of the same issues as everybody else, getting a little loose.
No, the 13 made a really late dive on me, and I had to make a crazy evasive maneuver to keep from killing us both.
Andrew Berry to the inside of Kylo Ciacelli. He'll get the job done. Kylo going to try the crossover here off of turn number 4, tucks into the draft, gets the toe down the front straightaway. Berry leads the lap, but Ciacelli may be able to get the pass done in 1 and 2. Story of this race has been loose, loose, loose. Take a look here at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay of the move that James Watson was referencing here. Yeah, having to get way up to the outside. Oh, big bobble. Nice save there, James.
Yeah, it was Pucker Factor Zulu right there. So yeah, there's still a lot of speed in this hot rod. Just got back up to 12th and trying to run down a few more spots here. We're not out of it.
David Porcelli, excuse me, that's Mike Holler having a look on Frank Wynn for the 6th position there on the right-hand side of your screen. As your top 3 continue to battle, and they will see the cross flags halfway home here at New Hampshire. Kylo Ciacelli gets the halfway leader bonus.
Everett must have some sort of damage from that earlier issue because he is dropping like a rock. I'm starting to catch up to him pretty hefty.
Let's take a look here and see. We'll see if we can spot something here on Everett Paddock's race car. Doesn't look like anything that we can see, at least real clearly, but just because we can't see it doesn't mean the wheels aren't out of alignment a little bit or something. Oh, yeah, now you can see it. Looks like the right front is not necessarily pointing the way that Everett Paddock may want that tire to be pointing. We go back to the side-by-side view here. Pick up Frank Wynn and Mike Holler. They're battling side-by-side. Holler down on the inside of the racetrack. Wynn on the outside. And these are all battles with championship implications here.
Not to sound like Rick Allen too early.
That is correct. I am going to use that every chance I get, by the way. Porcelli entering the night as your points leader, sitting on 477 points. 43 points back is Everett Paddock and Nagisa Yoshikawa. They were tied in points entering tonight's race. Kylo Ciacelli in fourth, Frank Wynn in the fifth position. Oh, James, you have a friend in the comments, buddy. Let's get this up here.
I do? What's wrong with them?
Tasty. Saying, let's go, James. You got this.
I'm trying everything I can. If someone could wreck up in front, I'd really appreciate that.
They're trying it. Andrew Berry diving big to the inside of Kylo Ciacelli. He's going to grab the race lead. And don't look now, folks. David Porcelli has caught the lead four again. He came from second back 20 or so laps ago, and he's going to be right in this fight for the win. Ted Burns looking inside of Kylo Ciacelli for the second position. Porcelli going to be right there to capitalize as well. They're going to have to get this battle sorted quickly, or Andrew Berry will be able to get away. Even if it's only by a half to 3/4 of a second, that's still time on the racetrack you don't want to give up. Burns slots in behind Ciacelli. Porcelli says, thank you very much. I'll get to the inside. Big full send into turn 3. Wow. Porcelli able to make it stick. How about this battle drag racing down the front stretch? Again, Porcelli with a big dive, and now because the battle is for third and fourth, Kylo Ciacelli is catching back up to Andrew Berry. Now Burns going to look inside of Ciacelli for second. Oh, great pass there. Oh, they almost made contact down the front straightaway. Oh, Porcelli had a thought. He was going to go 3 wide into turn number 1, all the way down to the apron. Wisely backs out of it. Burns now up to second. Porcelli going to have a shot at Ciacelli. He tucks back in line. Burns going to go hunting after race leader Andrew Berry. Kylo Ciacelli, lucky he didn't get some aero push into the outside safer barrier, exiting turn number 4 there. Sliding right up behind the attenuator of Ted Burns. They'll continue to battle side by side for position number 2. Go back to the side by side here as well, because Mike Holler, Nagisa Yoshikawa, and Frank Wynn are all battling for position. Down to 20 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Knock on wood, caution free to this point, which is a lot of what I saw even running against the AI today at a fairly aggressive settings package on them. It's not easy to drive the car around here. it can become very predictable, which is what you like to see as a driver. And really, we see the wrecks in these SOF races when things are unpredictable.
Yeah, this also just goes to show the level of talent we have in this series, that these guys can drive as hard as they're driving and not stuff each other into the wall.
To update you there, Tasty, James is now up 2 spots after running 13th at one point in the race, back up to the 11th position, trying to catch Sam Hensley for 10th, but the gap's sitting right about 2 seconds.
I'm taking about a 10th or 2 a lap. Also, it's a nice day when you get to pass Everett Paddock and something.
Yes. How about Mike Collar and Frank Wynn side by side, Nagisa Yoshikawa and Dylan Vilashinsky. Those guys were running pace laps at full throttle around this place. The battle for the lead now has Porcelli, Ciacelli, and Burns in order, chasing Andrew Berry. The problem for these guys is Berry is now out to almost a half-second lead, down to 17 to go. They're going to have to get tucked in line. Definitely some ground to make up here if they want to catch up to the race leader. Right-hand side of the screen, they're back to doing pace laps. Well, at speed pace laps, side by side. Fantastic crossover moves, each end of the racetrack back there as well. Great battles all the way around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Ted Burns inside of Kylo Ciacelli for the 3rd position. Burns going to be able to complete the soft slider into turn number 1. But now Porcelli is going to have to try to run down Andrew Berry. Already down to 14 laps to go here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This race going by in a hurry. 24 minutes, 20 seconds. Big moment there for Kylo Ciacelli off of turn number 2. They're starting to slot in. However, the race leader is catching lap traffic. Andrew Berry down to the inside of Jeff Pete. He will be able to get the pass completed. So score Jeff Pete 1 lap down. That little bit of drafting help may be all that David Porcelli needed. It was not much, but the slightest hint of a toe down the front stretch from the lap car now has him back within 0.3 of a second on the race leader. Seeing a little bit of smoke there in turns 3 and 4. Not sure who that was from. A little bit of a moment last time out of turn number 2 for Dylan Vilashinsky. Oh, it looks like we have one car pulling off down to the inside of the racetrack. That's Kylo Ciacelli. Kylo Ciacelli is in trouble, and he has to take the tow. Huge moment for Kylo Ciacelli. Take a look at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay.
Dylan is in as well.
Take a look here as we're down to 10 to go. See what happened to Kylo Ciacelli. Exiting turn 2. Well, it didn't happen that time. So it must have been the next lap around, but big time issues for Kylo Ciacelli. He goes from battling to the win to finishing 13th and last. Everett Paddock on pit road, as is Mike Holler. We have
what
cars
is happening?
Dropping like flies right now. Dylan Vilashinsky stopped in pit lane. 8.3 second stop for Vilashinsky. So obviously a little bit of a damage repair there, but Mike Holler on the pit lane. Everett Paddock out of the race. Mike Holler back out onto the speedway, but man alive, this three-car battle now is going to be really intense, as we are down to 8 laps to go, when of all these cars taking damage of one sort or another, no caution comes out. Even for Kylo Ciacelli stopping on the back straightaway. Let's go on board here with David Porcelli as he chases down your race leaders. Slide up, pick up Ted Burns. Right up under the attenuator of race leader Andrew Berry. You look out the back end, David Porcelli going to be right there as well. Six to go. Andrew Berry has led 40 of the 55 completed laps here tonight. He is stout every time we come to the ovals, but tonight has not been easy. You almost wonder if Ted Burns isn't trying to save a little bit of tire here for a big bonsai run late in this race. David Porcelli falling back just a little bit, sitting about a half second back of the race leader. It's not a ton, but it's enough to have him slow down. And we're caution's out. Caution is out. Everett Paddock crashing on the racetrack, and that will end this race. Everett Paddock battling with Mike Holler. Holler getting the run down to the inside. There was contact. It may have been some net code, but Paddock slides into the outside retaining wall. And that's all she wrote there. Get you one more look at it here. Holler making the big dive down to the inside of the racetrack. Man. Without a really close, slowed down look, I don't know if we can call that contact or net code. Well, one way or the other, it is not going to matter. It will be 2 laps to go here at the line. And there are 2 laps remaining in the caution period. This would be the lap that the leaders would have pit. The next lap would be the lap down cars with an opportunity to pit. And that's going to be the white flag lap. So at best, you're going to get a very short run to the checkered flag. But looks like Andrew Berry is going to sneak his way into a win. I can't say sneak his way into a win. He led 44 laps.
Yeah. And we're used to him doing pretty well at these races.
Yeah, it's one of those. When I say sneak into a win, he didn't have to fight tooth and nail for those final 4 laps because the battle was coming. Ted Burns was going to have a shot at least. Unfortunately, that will not be the case here, as the field will see the white flag this time by the start-finish line. And it looks like the lights are still on the iRacing safety car. So this race will
we are still pacing.
Under caution.
Yep, we're still pacing. Race is over.
Oh. Let's see if we can't get a word in here with Mike Holler before the end of this one. Mike, tough way for the race to end for you there. The contact with Everett in turn 1. Tell us what you saw from your perspective.
Yeah, so well, first of all, I underfueled, and so needed to stop and get reloaded there. That's what put me next to Everett in the first place. And yeah, I was racing with Nagisa and Frank. Maybe you were showing some of it for a lot of the race, and it worked pretty well. And I gave him about the space I was giving Nagisa and Frank. I need to take a look at the replay, but I think there was a little bit more taken than I was given, and there was miscommunication there. So I need to just take a look and see what got wrong.
All right, buddy. Tough break there. And with that, the checkered flag flies, and Andrew Berry gets the win in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship Strength of Field race here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, under caution, but something tells me Andrew will be more than happy to take these wins any way you can get them. Ted Burns going to come home second. David Porcelli will round out the podium. And as your race leader comes around here, let's take a look at the results. Hopefully show you a little bit more of the burnouts here. Andrew Berry, Ted Burns, David Porcelli, Frank Wynn, Nagisa Yoshikawa, the top 5. Good run for Brian Karszewski up to the 6th position. James, great recovery up to 7th. Sam Hensley in 8th. Mike Holler 9th. And Dylan Vilashinsky in the 10th position. Jeff Pete finishing 11th. Everett Paddock 12th. And Kylo Ciacelli shotgun on the field in the 13th position. There's Andrew Berry. Now, I'm not sure why we're not seeing the smoke over here on this one. All right, let's cut to this one. Oh, well, see, there you go. Then he disappears off the racetrack on us anyway. So with that, time for us to get some Victory Lane interviews squared up here. We do have Andrew Berry available to talk to. We'll see if we can't get a hold of Ted Burns and David Porcelli as well here. But let's go back in the race a little bit here and pick up some of the great side-by-side battles that we had going on. Absolutely fantastic driving tonight from a handful of drivers that we had at the front of the field, including your race winner piloting the number 1 machine tonight, Andrew Berry. Man, I tell you what, I said you snuck into a win, but you didn't really sneak into anything when you lead 46 laps. But I guess you don't want to win that race under caution, because that was a fantastic dogfight you guys had for the entire race.
Yeah, it was a good time. I kind of wonder what happened to Everett there, because he was holding with me. I think he was one of the probably 2 or 3 cars that had the pace to match me, and he just kind of disappeared at one point. But yeah, that was definitely a fun race. Almost went green to the end. It was a couple laps short of going green to the end.
Yes. Everett got caught out by the loose. Kylo got caught out by the loose. David Porcelli got caught out by the loose. Seemed like everybody did except for you, at least having a big moment anyway. How difficult was the car to control out there? It seemed like James was telling us tight on corner entry, and then you just got looser and looser as you were trying to exit the corner.
I've never had a problem with it being loose, apart from like on cold tires. I noticed that in the race I did earlier, but like basically everyone else was losing the car off of 2, and I could hold it there just fine. So I'm not. Must have just been a setup thing. But yeah, on cold tires it was wicked. That first lap was sketchy, but after that, yeah, I'm not sure. It was not my experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great drive tonight, ultimately coming out ahead of Ted Burns and David Porcelli, 2 guys that are no slouch in battling for a championship. Give you any hope for maybe some big things coming for you when we get back to the Twisties here next week at Long Beach?
Yeah, we'll see. Not sure how much I'm going to be able to run next week, so should be interesting.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on picking up the win here, and get any sponsor plugs, thank yous, or shout-outs taken care of before we let you go.
Yeah, just thanks for hosting.
All right, bud. Well, we appreciate it, especially when we didn't do any of the hosting. Time to bring in our runner-up finisher here tonight, Ted Burns. And I'll tell you what, Teddy, I would imagine frustrated, angry, gutted, a whole bunch of things here. You were going to have a shot there against Andrew with just a couple of laps to go before that yellow came out.
Yeah, I was gearing up a run. Andrew seemed to find an extra gear when we hit 5 to go, and all of a sudden he started getting a lot better runs off the corner. So I had to kind of rework my strategy and rework kind of how I was getting the runs. And I'd finally figured it out, and I was gonna make my move that very next lap into turn 1. Knowing that under 5 to go, there's always a chance of that caution. So I wanted to be out in front, and it just caught me out a little too soon. But still really happy with the second place result.
Was there any thought that you would have to make the move into turn 3, knowing that if you make the move into 1 and 2, you're kind of giving the shot at the other end of the racetrack to the person that you just passed?
It was. I think it was a little bit harder to make the move into 3 and 4, and I know Andrew is really strong there. He got me back earlier in the race into 3-4, but I was working on trying to save the tires there at the end, so I knew that I have a little bit more of an advantage into 1 and 2, and hopefully try and hang it out in 3-4. I knew the high line was starting to come in pretty well at the end there, get a good run off, so. I was thinking maybe I could take my chances, ride the high line around 3-4, and maybe eke it out at the line, just getting a better run off. So it would have been a cool strategy to see it play out to the end there, all the way with the green. But that's racing. That's how it goes. Ends a little early sometimes.
Yes, unfortunately, that was one of those tonight. But thank you very much for putting on a fantastic show all night with Andrew, David, and Everett at points as well. Congratulations on the runner-up finish here, and before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, thank you guys for putting on such a great broadcast. Love watching every week. Everyone racing the series. Also, big thanks to Team Downforce Racing because I showed up. Haven't been racing the car much. Been on the road the last couple of weeks, and they just had a killer setup. Came out here and was able to run at the front all night. So big thanks to those guys for making a great setup.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you checking in with us here, and let's get our final Victory Lane interview taken care of here with our third-place finisher, David Porcelli. One, how did you save that car in turn 2? You were flat sideways early on in the race. And then, how in the world did you get caught up? All of a sudden, it was like, where did he come from?
Yeah, wow. I had a premonition going into that complex because, I just knew it was hairy. It was lap 8. We were, there was a lot of side-by-side going on. People were making it 3 wide. I was on the outside. It's a bumpy line on the outside there. And I was just, I said it, even on my stream, I was like, I just need to survive this. And sure enough, I go through the corner and I get loose on the bump. And, I think just having that, the hairs on my back, my neck standing up was just enough for me to get on the brake pedal before the car got too sideways. I was able to lock up the fronts, and they just slid back right in front of me, and I brought the car back. And then getting back through the pack, that was a real challenge, and I was happy I was able to do it. Real bummer for Everett, though, because I was looking forward to having a little bit of a championship fight with him. So, yeah, wow, what a race. Really, really eventful.
Yeah, this one probably becomes a drop week for Everett Paddock as the points have updated. You're sitting on just about 50 points ahead of Nagisa for second. Everett falling back to third, and then Kylo and Frank Wynn rounding out the top 5. Starting to shape up into possibly a 3-horse race. It's very early, but got to be feeling pretty good here about where you're standing in terms of the championship.
It's feeling nice. I know I'm putting my best performances on the table and bringing it home. I need to keep doing that. The season's long. There are a lot of drops. Things change quickly in this type of championship format. So I just need to keep doing this for another 9 weeks, and I'll be a happy guy.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again on the podium finish here tonight. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, shout out to Team Watson Racing. We're really starting to put it together, guys. So nice performance to the other drivers on that team. Shout out to Racecraft 1 Indianapolis. Hi to the family. And thanks so much to National Racing Network for putting on a great broadcast every week. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you checking in with us here. And, man, I'll tell you what, James, as we go back to the live look, you had an eventful night as well. You went at one point, you were 13th and shotgun on the field. People started having problems around you, and all of a sudden you're pulling out a 7th place finish. Not a bad run tonight, brother.
No, I was for the longest time. I just had to make peace and go, well, I'm probably making a sizable donation to the iRating fund, but I started put my head down, started catching up. You know, there was a lot of pace still in this DWRS setup. And then the mass exodus of other cars to the pit road. I'm like, okay. Thanks for the freebies. So yeah,
that was kind of it. Take them where you can get them. That's for sure. And
yeah, after all that, I only lost 18 iRating. After all that, I'm ecstatic. I was expecting 120 donation. So yeah, I'll take 18 any day of the week.
I was gonna say that makes for a not terrible night. That's for sure. Well, hey, nice run tonight, brother. Make sure get the plugs in, especially here for Team Watson Racing setups. David made mention of it, but you guys are starting to do some things here.
Yeah, like between David, Yoshikawa, Kylo, Preston, like we've got some major heavy hitters up here at the front. So, and we're showing that, like with knock on wood, 1-2 in points right now. Yeah, I'm just loving what I'm seeing and just grateful I have such incredible drivers and incredible people on this team.
Yes, and quite frankly, oh, here we go. Let's get the comment up here from. Well, let's pull it up here first. Tasty, saying that was a great race. Yes, it was. That was fun.
Yeah.
It sucks that it ended under caution, but man, that a fun race to watch. And we're going to have a ton more of that coming up tomorrow night. Real world kart racing action from Snydersville Raceway. The $3,000 to win John LaRue Memorial. $3,000 to win a go-kart race.
Where did Alex get all that money?
Wherever it is.
Like, must have found it across the street.
I guess. Absolutely insane numbers going on there. And quite frankly, we're really excited to be bringing it to you. You can catch all that action live here on the National Racing Network YouTube channel, and it will likely be on our Facebook page as well. That one, I'm not sure that we're going to air on Twitch. There's the internet connection up there is a little bit spotty, so it may even just go only to YouTube. But we're looking forward to that. Coming up on Saturday, the DeWeather Cares Charity Softball Classic, 2nd annual. Hopefully we have fewer arrests. Yeah. Tune in on the DeWeather Center YouTube channel. We'll have some live look-ins throughout the day on their Facebook channel as well, but all the action from the Emerald Playground Association and One Nut Field, that's the field we're broadcasting from. You'll get to learn all about what One Nut Field means coming up on Saturday. But with that, we are getting the heck out of here. We got a ton of work to do to get ready for a big weekend. For James Watson and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.